Thank you so much for joining us today on KJL Art Sanctuary podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth Lewis Sr. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to show love by liking, sharing, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more listeners just like you. Together, let's build a vibrant community of art enthusiasts and creatives. Remember, your presence matters in our journey, and we're grateful for every moment you spend with us. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating. Hi, everyone, and welcome to KJL Podcast Channel. I'm your host, Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., and today our guest artist is going to be Mary Faye Claggett. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and remember, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let me tell you a little bit about Mary. Mary Faye Claggett is a native Ashton, Maryland. Is a native of Ashton, Maryland, currently residing in Clinton, Maryland. After graduating from Spelman College with a degree in chemistry, Mary pursued a career in clinical research, focusing on oncology. In 2018, her father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and Mary used art as a way to de-stress while taking her father to and from chemotherapy in Baltimore. She later became obsessed with fluid art painting, and with the pandemic came the time to devote to the practice. Clinical research is a global profession, and Mary originally sent her initial paintings to co-workers all over the world, from the Netherlands to Mumbai, India, as a way to bring a few minutes peace to the healthcare colleagues during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mary was raised on a small farm in a largely agricultural section of Maryland. As a result, much of her art is heavily influenced by nature at both the macroscopic and microscopic level. She utilizes her scientific curiosity and understanding of basic chemistry principles to express herself artistically. Mary is a fluid art abstractionist with her own style described as scientific fantasy, inspired by nature, aiming to bring peace and serenity. She has been exhibited at Arts to Nation Gallery at National Harbor in Maryland, Wellspring Manor and Spa in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and LED Baltimore in Baltimore, Maryland. Heavily influenced by her parents' devotion to growing a garden, hence the name of her business, Sugar Beets Art Flow, and her father's garage of tools, she experimented with furniture, various textiles, and other medium. I actually hate beets, but despite drought or flood rather, beets always grow, always. So again, I want to welcome you all, everyone. What an amazing bio, by the way. And I want to again welcome you all to this episode of KJL Podcast. Before we get started, I want to let you know the support from our viewers is greatly appreciated. It helps me, enables me to be able to do my artist interviews. I do live gallery tours. I do artist demonstrations. And we also have art history. So your donations, how big or small, they actually help us. And please like and share my YouTube channel, because it also allows the channel itself to grow, helps with our algorithm, and please share. So without any further ado, I'm going to add Mary to the stage, and let's get ready to rumble. How you doing, Mary?
Hi.
Are you able to hear me good?
I can hear you well.
Okay, I may have to turn my volume up a little bit. You're more soft-spoken than me. I just got a loud mouth, and it just does its own thing sometimes. But so, you have before we begin, I'm going to share with with the quote that you have that inspires you on your journey as an artist. And it's never turn your back on fear. It should always be in front of you, like a thing that might have to be killed. Hunter Thompson. What's with that?
So, I don't know. Something happened to me probably around, I don't know, 40 something, where I'm just not really scared of anything anymore, and I don't care. so essentially, I will try just about anything. At some point around the middle of your life, you realize, like, tomorrow is not promised. Nobody's watching, and nobody's watching. We're always obsessed to think, what people think of us. Nobody's paying attention to you. So
Yes.
At this point in my life, I don't really fear too much at all, especially not embarrassment. So I will try anything, and I don't care. And that's basically how I do everything in my artistic life. I try everything. I submit to everything. I fill out every application. What's the worst that could happen?
Yes, exactly. And that's a good attitude. And by the way, this is Hunter. And if for all of you this to know, Hunter S. Thompson, this is a picture of him right here. And again, we have his quote that you had there was, never turn your back on fear. It should always be in front of you. Okay, so, and Hunter Thompson, he was an American journalist and author as well. And he rose to prominence when he embedded himself for a year with the Hells Angels. And that's how he really got his start going right there. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me get to my questions here. I had a little mishap, everyone, before it started. I ruined my computer, but this is an example of the show must go on. So I just took break a leg to break a computer. That's all I did. So I'm gonna get with my first thing. Now, what initially inspired you to pursue art, and how has your journey evolved over time? I know it kind of mentions a little bit in your bio, but could you elaborate a little more?
Sure. So this is not where I'm going to go into like some metaphysical thing. I bought a shower curtain, and I love that shower curtain. And then it was probably right before the pandemic, and I wanted art to go with that shower curtain, frankly. And I was looking for a painting, and then I saw something that said, well, you can make this. Like, make this? Do tell. And at that point, the pandemic just kind of kicked in. I was taking my dad to chemo. I was stressed out. At that time, it was really restrictive. Like, there was no vaccine. You couldn't get on the road after 5 o'clock. It was kind of crazy. So, I started, YouTubing and looking at some things like we all were stuck in a house. I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And then I was almost immediately addicted. Probably the first painting I ever did. And then I painted about every day for 2 years. Multiple paintings, oftentimes. So in probably since the pandemic, I've painted about 450 or 500 paintings.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Trying to look and see if I had any questions here. I was trying to look see if I had any questions up here from anyone. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about your creative process, and where I see you draw the inspiration from everything in your thing, but tell me something about the creative process that you take.
Okay, I will say in my day life is very controlling. Like, it's very, you have to be very accurate. There are like no mistakes allowed. In my art life, I want the opposite. Like, part of fluid art is you can't control it. Not in the way a traditional painter uses a utensil, right? So I love that part. I also don't like straight lines. I don't like angles. And, art teaches you things about yourself. I didn't really know that till I started painting. I don't like jagged edges. I wanted it to feel fluid. I wanted to feel like everything's woosah and peaceful. So I try to have all my art make you feel better when you look at it. And that's kind of my creative process. I don't know. It makes itself, basically. I just got to get out of the way. I go in there with a general idea. Now that I paint so much, I can control about 85% of what's going to happen. But even still, there's a good 15% of total God spontaneity. And I love that part, And I love how it kind of tames your ego. Because you think you know what you want it to be, but it's not going to do that. Like, it's going to do what it wants to do. And I like that.
Exactly. Okay. So you like that uncertainty? You like the uncertainty? You like the pleasant surprises and all of those things that come along with it?
I do, because I'm very I don't think I'm controlling at all personally, but I've been told I'm somewhat controlling of my universe, but I don't.
Who told you that?
My daddy, before he passed away, my daddy too, that he's like, he was talking to probably some ex-boyfriend. He's like, Mary can be kind of controlling, like. But I don't think I'm controlling at all. But I'm not the best judge, but I know I can't control it. Like, I can control it, but it's a God factor. I just got to get out the way. If I get out the way and let God paint the painting, it's when I try to insert myself too much in the process where it just don't come out quite right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, for those of you, this is her Instagram. It's at Sugar Beats Art Flow. And then we have at Mary Claggett as well. And then we have her website here, which is sugarbeatsartflow.com. So just make sure you follow her. This is live right now, but it stays recorded. So for anybody later on, they'll be able to see this as well. And please check out her website and see some of her amazing work. How do you navigate the art world, in particular, like working with galleries and doing the exhibitions? Like, how do you navigate all of that with your your life and everything else?
I'm telling you, I'm learning to navigate it. Like, every day is the navigation. I am very determined to have a balanced lifestyle, though. So I think the key to this life thing is not too much of anything. Everything in moderation. But one thing I've learned the hard way, you're not going to sell the painting in the house.
Nope.
So you're going to have to get out in the streets. You got to go to the exhibitions. Yes. And the way the art game works, which is so not like science, everything leads to the next thing. You go to somebody else's, artist talk, which you meet another curator who wants you in their gallery for something else, and then you go to there, and then that leads to the next thing, and then you go to there. So that's very unusual. It's very networky. One thing about being like in the science nerd part of life, we're always in demand. Like, there are not enough scientists, there are not enough medical people. So I'm not used to competition. Like, we compete.
Yeah.
People call up. There are too many jobs and not enough of us. Art's the opposite. Art, there's not enough opportunities. There's not enough grants. There's not enough curations. There's not enough anything. So you're kind of bad, and I'm not a badly person. You know what I mean? So I've kind of set my own philosophy, like, I'm just going to be blessed to be in the room, period. Like, I just go to stuff. I'm just my kind of authentic Mary self. Sometimes I go to no business cards, no nothing, especially if it's not my event. I'm real big on, it's not about me if it's your event. I'm not trying to promote me at somebody else's, opening. So I've been told that's bad, but I don't care. And it's working. I mean, being more me is working to me than if I try to pretend to be a competitive person. That's never going to be me. So
you should always be yourself. That's the one thing. You should always be yourself, no matter what anyway. So, and that's how people it resonates with you. I remember one time I was in the studio. I had a studio at this place, and this guy came in and said, "Oh, I think you need to put this over here," and start saying stuff. When he left out the room, I just whited over everything, and I started from scratch, because my process is I don't want any input from anyone. It's going to come all from me or nothing. And so once someone makes it even the slightest suggestion, I'm off that. And so we all have these ways and things that we do. And so, and that's me, you know. So could you share like some insight? You mentioned something about storytelling in there, your art. So like, tell me, how do you go through that process?
Okay, so
like the storytelling aspect.
So sometimes I'm painting, like, you know, a scientist told me that I'm painting my subconscious, looking at like cells and stuff, like histopathology. I don't think that. So like, for instance, like this painting right behind me, this is to me like kind of what marriage looks like. Like, because, you know, it's two people kind of trying to work it out, but it's going to be a mess, you know. Hopefully it'll vibe out, and when it works, it's very beautiful.
Is that this one?
Yes. Yeah.
Put your head over so I can see you a little bit.
Okay.
But so this one right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one
so
is
just so
you can see it's like a male and it's supposed to be like a couple coming together. Basically. And you know, sometimes you gotta move out the way. You know, the other person and inhabit the space, and vice versa. So I was very intentional when I painted this painting this way. And to do it, you kind of have to, the technique requires you to use both your hands at the same time. And I'm not ambidextrous, right? But like a couple, even the process to make it is like a relationship, you know? Yeah. So,
well, we have Malibu Ken made a comment, beautiful painting. We have a comment from Malibu Ken.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, but yeah, and this is where I don't paint negativity and I don't paint sadness. Everything I paint, I can't paint when I'm not happy. I know that's not a traditional, you're supposed to do. I'm not.
No, I agree.
So I'm also thinking of, I don't want it on my wall. Why am I going to take all my negative whatever and put it on the canvas and then hang it on the wall so I can look at it all the time, right?
Yes.
So I don't want that for you either. So you're not going to get my, anxiety or whatever. You're not going to get that on the canvas, really, for me. Yeah. You know,
the only time
I appreciate it, but it's not my jam.
Yeah, I agree. I don't paint. People often say that. Oh, as an artist, it's therapeutic. Nah, I just like doing it.
Right.
It ain't got nothing to do with therapy.
Right. and when I'm not happy,
you know what happens is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said when I'm not happy.
Go ahead. No, you were saying something.
No, I was saying when I'm not happy, I can't do it. I can't paint when I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So that's the way that is.
Yeah. And I agree with you, but so many times artists, they just take all the catchphrases and they just go with it. Starving artists or this or that. And they just fly with these terms instead of just carving out your own path. As a creative, you are creating your path. And, you know, of course you can look at different things and different ways of doing things, but you got to find your voice, your way of doing it. And you got to be like authentic in doing it. And that's what I like about what you're saying. You're authentic. You're doing it because you enjoy doing it. You're doing it when you like to do it. It's not like you're forced. That's why sometimes commissions, for me, sometimes get a little bit because there's an expectation level there. Whereas when I'm creating my own art, I'm doing it. Whereas the commission, someone has this idea of one thing and you may present something else because of your style of painting and things like that. So I'm some commissions I may not take depending on what it is. Actually, portraits, I'm not going to do those anymore. I recently had a situation because people look at portraits and they may see a portrait of something and say, oh, can you paint me this picture here? But they want to paint it like another artist. And instead of just asking that artist that paints like that to paint the picture for you. You follow me? Right. So, but anyway, your paintings, like they feature like surrealist landscapes and mysterious figures. Like what kind of draws you to that theme and what do you want somebody to take away from it?
I love nature. Like one of the things my sister said, when I go on vacation, the first thing I tell you about when I see is the plants. I was like, oh, they have this like before I started late. I didn't even realize I do this. I look at the plants first everywhere I go. Because I probably would have done horticulture if I didn't do what I do. So a lot of what I do is I like cells. You know, I like what you look like underneath a microscope. I think it's beautiful. Like a stained slide is like a beautiful thing. And I like plants. So probably a lot. And my colors, you know, my sister says my colors aren't bright because they're very natural based. Because you know one thing, when you go outside, nothing ever clashes. God is like the perfect artist. No bird has never not looked right. Ever.
Yes.
And there'll be some opposing, crazy looking colors, but on the bird, it looks like it's supposed to be there. So almost all my color combinations come from something outside. Because they never mess. They're never wrong, like ever.
Wow. So we're gonna look at a couple of more pieces of your artwork. And while we're looking at that, I want you to think about how has social media helped you? But we're going to look at a couple of pieces. So tell me about this piece.
Okay, this piece has my favorite color. I love it because it has only one color in it. Payne's Gray, which is my favorite color. It's a very complicated color. It's gray, it's black, it's blue, and when you use it with white, it does what it wants to do. So this piece, the way it started, if I showed you how I paint, you'd be like, I can't believe that turns into that. I kind of got out of the way with this and kind of let it do its thing. Like, there's some manipulation of me using like a utensil in this, you know? But if you saw how much paint I used like 3 drops of paint to make this.
Wow.
So it's air, it's water, it's 3 drops of paint and some manipulation. And actually what it is, it's a tile. It's a tile in my bathroom that holds my toothbrush.
Wow.
It's about this big.
That's beautiful.
Because I like to paint on things. You know, I like to paint on leftover tiles. Especially, you know, when you renovate your house, you always have tiles left over. I love to recycle things. So I always tell people to give them to me. Like, what are you going to do with 4 tiles? You know, nothing.
Exactly.
So I can take them and I can make this. And then I coat it in tabletop epoxy. So, you know, you could put anything on it and you can wipe it off with Windex and keep it moving, you know. So I like to paint on different substances, sometimes canvases, but a lot of times not. I do a lot of table commissions of things that look like this.
Wow. Awesome. It's beautiful. I really like it a lot.
Thank you. I would say that's most representative of me is this. 1 color, 3 drops of paint. Okay, this piece is supposed to be almost like total insanity. Like it's like, it's called, it's basically a total like mind meltdown craziness. I wanted it to be chaotic. I don't really have any other paintings like this. But one day I was like, yo, I'm just going to go all over the place, you know? So, I mean, I love it. When I see it now, you know, when you see paintings, like you forget you do them. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. You know, they always still like, I don't really want to do it. But obviously it's full of cells, you know? To me, this looks like a lot like what your body looks like on the inside.
Wow. Wow.
Right. And when you think about it that way, you can kind of see it. Right. This is a couple. This one is
that was the couple, but
this
one right here.
Yeah, this is the river of life. So I was trying to paint the movement of life with like every color. Right. So and one thing about I love about painting, like sometimes I use minimal colors. I use a lot of primary colors, and then I let the painting make the rest of them. So I often just use red, yellow, and blue, and I leave it alone. Obviously, I'm using, you know, a lot of liquid, so they're going to blend together, and they'll make the rest of the color if I get out of the way.
Yes.
Right. So
this really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so listen, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short little break, everyone, and I'm going to do what I call my shameless advertising. And so you'll get to look at one of my quick little videos. And please remember, before you look at this video, what I want you to do is, here we have sugarbeatsartflow.com. It's her website. Start to follow her on Instagram at Mary Claggett. Also on Instagram at sugarbeatsartflow. Please, by all means, please follow this woman, support her art, buy some of her art. Don't just follow her, buy some art too. And we'll be right back after these short messages.
While we proudly showcase the original artwork of artist Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., we also offer an array of other products to complement your artistic interests. From charming coffee mugs and elegant note cards to stunning prints and captivating published books, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Be sure to explore our diverse selection. As a token of appreciation, we're delighted to offer you a special discount. Simply click the link in the description and use promo code KJL10 at checkout to receive a generous 10% off your order. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders totaling $50 or more. It's our way of saying thank you for supporting our passion for artistry. Start browsing now and enhance your collection with our unique offerings. We can't wait to see what catches your eye. Hashtag grateful, hashtag much love.
Okay, we're back. All right. So, how has social media helped you?
So, one thing I've kind of figured out as an artist, I don't think you can do it without social media. I mean, I'm sure you can, but basically now the world is a different place, right? So
Yes.
when I first started selling, like maybe the first thing I did was some, I don't know, Pancakes and Booze art show or something. People were like, they don't want your business card, they want your Instagram QR code. I just turned 50 in December, and I'm terrible with technology. Like, it's not my jam, right? So I was some customer bought a painting of mine, and they were like, well, give me your Cash App QR code or give me your Instagram. I was like, They're like, give me your phone. And the customers taught me how to get to all my QR codes and everything. They were like, no, honey, you got to get to this. And you put it up. Like, the customers taught me, like, especially the youngins, they taught me, they're like, no, you slap your QR code up there and then I can just, because nobody's trying to do this paper anymore. You know, like, those days are over. Like, there are no trees. So you, social media, you know, one thing, it's a wonderful thing. But people who don't like social media, I kind of learned too, like, you know, some people are like, oh no, I don't. It's just like anything else.
Yes.
If you make your social media, you have to work at it, like, and you choose what you want. You know, the artificial intelligence will like pick up on what you're doing and it'll give you what you want. So like my Instagram's a thing of beauty. I don't understand how people are like, oh, it's this terrible thing. It's wonderful. What are you following? Like, if you're following and looking at positive, beautiful things, the AI will send you more beautiful and positive things. If you're looking for negativity, you're gonna get buckets of it. It is really, it's your mind. It's really a reflection of you. People think that it's some kind of monster that lives on the mountain. Like, no, it's you. You're making it and you follow it. You know? So I love it. Also, too, you know, I know we're in an age of people not really showing themselves authentically and using all these filters and whatever. That's okay. I mean, I'm not a judgmental person. Do your jam. I never do. I don't even know how to use a filter. I've never used a filter in my life because I don't care. Like, you know, it is what it is. So I kind of just show who I am, and you can like it. I don't really get very many. I didn't get negative comments. Or if I get them, I probably didn't pay any attention, you know? But I rarely, I just don't attract that type of energy to my stuff. So, and I also, I'm not critical of others either. You know, especially with art. Art's art. Like, you know, there's nothing to really criticize about it, really. Like, that's that's what it is. You can criticize my day job if I didn't put the decimal point in the right place. But
Yes.
art's not like that. Like it is what it is. You don't have to like it. Somebody will, and they'll buy it.
Exactly.
I just not be you. So
pretty much.
I love social media.
So you kind of I had the question about nature even more, like how do your artwork, it conveys a sense of a connectedness with nature.
Yes.
How is your relationship? I know it influences your art, but you in nature, how are you in nature? I know you love it. Do you go out in nature? You walk barefoot? You do it like
I'm not that natural. So
you're not a tree hugger?
Let me tell you, I'm from anybody who's from a farming background, they're probably some of the hardest not tree hugging people, because once you see the cycle of life and you see the animals eating each other and everything else,
wow.
I'm going to hat and gloves, are you going to get something and I'll, break out. I respect nature a great deal. I'm not a camper.
Yes.
The bears don't come in my house. Why am I going in the bear's house? So,
exactly.
I respect nature enough to leave it alone. I am not an invader, of the nature, but I love to look at it. I love to see it. I respect it, but I'm not going to be all up in somebody animal's house, putting my smells and all my, chemicals on. Oh,
exactly.
I respect it enough to leave it alone. But that's one reason why social media is beautiful. I follow a lot of scuba diving. I love everything underwater. I love water, period, right? But I respect it. I'm not swimming with sharks. They don't want me in there. I'll look at a camera, swimming with the sharks. But, so I would say I look at a lot of images. I follow a lot of birds. I follow a lot of animals, period. When I go on, I love to travel. And I love to, see different natures. But I'm not going to camp out there. Let's not invite something bad to happen. They don't want me there. The animals.
Hey, I love nature. I love it. I look at the nature shows. I want to actually go in a shark tank to go down into the ocean.
Oh, no,
and I want to go into one of those glass enclosures out with the lions feeding, right next to it, and you're inside the cage or the glass. I want to do that too.
I have gone on safari in South Africa. And I have lions are everywhere. When you're in the safari, they're deep. They're 28 deep, strolling. But I love nature. Nature is beautiful, but they're not like you think. They sleep 18 hours a day. You ain't gonna get a whole lot of action watching lions. And
it's mostly at night.
Right. If you don't you gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because at 10 o'clock a.m. all of the savannah goes to sleep. Everybody's napping. Everything is napping at 10 o'clock in the morning for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, but they have their own community. They have their own beef. They're just like people.
Yes.
With each other over stupid stuff. Having elephant arguments. Just getting it. They're just it's just. I love watching, but I respect it. I'm not going out in there. I'll do it from a lovely Jeep. But I don't care.
Let me ask you this: you have a lot of collaborations with museums and other institutions, and it can give you some very good exposure. What's a memorable experience that you've had with a gallery or a studio? What's a real memorable moment that you've had where you saw some growth or had an epiphany?
Sure. So probably Arts Nation and National Harbor. That's the first art gallery I was ever installed in my life. And when I walked, I was greener than a green bean. When I walked in the door, I was so green that I thought I went there with a ladder and hammer and nail. And I was like, oh, okay, where did I put my stuff? I didn't know anything about curation. They're like, no, honey, you leave it with us, and we put it where we want it to go. I was like, yeah. But I didn't sign my art either. I had this thing where I thought my signature devalued it, right? The greatest gallery experience to me has been the other artists. Artists took me by the hand. It's a lot of love from other artists. And they
Yes.
took me by the hand. They showed me everything. They were like, you need this digital camera. You need to sign your stuff. This is how you do this. This is how you make prints. This is the thing you have to get. This is your clay. This is how you make your clay. They're very loving, giving people. And
Absolutely.
as opposed to other industries, I've never seen anybody more loving and giving of information than artists. Because usually people are competitive. Artists, I mean, they're competitive too, but they're giving and loving. Very giving and loving. And every gallery I've been in has been like that. Like, it's love.
Awesome. We have another comment from Mary Crochette. She says, cool painting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, so now, so many emerging artists, I had this question, struggle with finding their voice and establishing themselves in the art world. Like someone starting on their journey, like what's some advice that you would give them? Being that you kind of came in and people were showing you stuff, what kind of advice would you give somebody just like coming into this art world?
Easy. Try everything. Submit to everything. Go to everything. I don't even care. And you have to have kind of a, you know, I tell people think I have a thick skin. You know, I don't think I have a thick skin. No. I just don't care about no. No doesn't mean anything to me. You know, it's like, to me, it's almost like finding a mate. You only need one. I don't care about the no's. Like, do you remember the no's? I don't remember the no's.
Exactly.
I remember the yeses, right? So I would say try everything. If you're not accepted, who cares? Try 10 more things.
Exactly.
And that's what I do. I apply to stuff I'm not qualified for. I apply to like public art displays. I never know what in my life. Somebody somewhere is going to say yes. And the other thing I would say, paint or whatever your jam is, create every day. Create every day and have a lot of inventory, because it is this is not a planned thing. Like someone feels like, okay, do you have 50 paintings by Tuesday? Like things like that happen, and it's all the time, you know. So just in the words of James Brown, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yep.
It's gonna it seems weird when you're like surrounded by like 4 million paintings. One gig can wipe all that out in 24 hours, and they want everything in your house. So, you know, stay ready and apply to everything, and don't be scared to apply, and don't worry about a no. You're gonna get lots of them. I've never met a very successful artist, and now I've been in the company of some really extremely successful artists. They've been told no several times, and are told no even now. They're told no.
Yes.
So you better toughen up.
Exactly.
but apply, and then keep rolling.
I had this one. Well, there's a comment from Malibu Ken. Great advice. Hands yellow, heart red.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just keep moving.
There was this artist. He's a British artist. His name is L.S. Lowry. Mm-hmm. He's from Manchester, England. And he made this comment. He said, I don't know why these artists get all upset saying that, well, nobody buys my art. Nobody's doing it. He says, well, nobody asked you to make it in the first place. He said, like, what are you talking about? Right. Nobody asked you to make it in the first place. So why are you? He just said, just paint, just create, just do your thing. Yeah. See, so many people get caught up into that, wonder, will I sell it? Or how it is that? Just keep creating.
I mean, I be honest, I paint for me. I don't know. The problem,
exactly.
I think people would probably say that makes me an amateur. Okay, I paint for me first, and then some. Then when I let it out of the house, people tend to buy it. But I mean, I always paint for my own wall first. That's just how I get down. So I don't get, and not everything's for everybody. It's like if everybody wanted the same man on earth. That's not the way it's supposed to be, right?
Nope.
Not everything is for everybody. You're supposed to hear no, right? Because that's somebody else's yes. Let them have their yes, and you got to know, and then another one will be for you.
Yep. Again, we have sugarbeetsartflow.com. Make sure you log into her website and look at some of the wonderful art that she has. And you can also follow Mary on Instagram at Mary Claggett. And also you can follow her at Sugar Beats Art Flow on Instagram as well. And we're going to take a look at some more of her artwork here. You were mentioning something about the table, and I see the one you have here. Like, you know, and so this is one of the, what is this, is the table made out of, all of it? Like, what is it made out of?
So I love to recycle. This table is made out of wood, actually, but I love to recycle things. So I especially love them when they're a mess, like when they're in the backyard upside down. This table, someone, I think it gave it to me. They didn't want it anymore. It originally obviously didn't look like this, right? It's like an 18-inch table, and I painted it, and then I coated it in tabletop epoxy, right? So I use a lot of resin of different kinds of resin, right? I do love to make functional art. I like to make things you can use, you know, like tables. I get a lot of commissions for furniture, a lot. Because, and when you're talking about commissions, this is a new thing I'm about to do, which is probably I'm not supposed to do it, but I don't care. Instead of trying to fight with people in these commissions, you're going to make it with me. So my new thing is, if you want me to make it, okay, we're going to set a date and time, and you're going to come over and you're going to watch me do it, and then you're going to paint with me. Because people don't know what they really want. They think they know. That's the problem with commissions. They don't really know. They'll say, I want a brown and brown painting. Like, no, you don't. You don't want that. But, you know, you can't convince them, right? They have to, like, see you in the process and be like, I hate that. Like, I shouldn't have said that at all. Like, I should have gone with what you said, you know? So, that's my new thing. I'm like, when people ask me for commission, sometimes I'm like, well, we're going to do it together. And then when we do it together, you can see how much that was not the way to go. But yeah, this table, I did have another one very similar that's white with a pink flower in the middle. I paint a lot of flowers. So I grew up in my grandmother used to grow poppies in fields, like acres of poppies, and there was nothing there but poppies. So I grew up with a whole lot of flowers. I didn't really realize it till now, because now I'm hurting when I don't see them. That's why I paint so many, right? So this one is blueberry flower, right? I remember selling this painting too, but I paint a lot of flowers because they make me think of home. Like,
yes.
In my family, we don't really give presents, we give plants. I know it's gonna sound weird, but we give living things, right? So the same flowers that are outside of my mother's house, my mother came and transplanted, and I have them too. Like, that's the way kind of generationally we give growing things. That's like our jam, you know? So this one is entitled Self-Portrait. I knew when I made it, I would never make anything that I thought looked more like me than this. It's one beautiful color. Oh, thank you so much. It's only one color. It's only Payne's Gray. But Payne's Gray is complicated. It's simple, but it's very complicated. Yeah. You know? And it was one drop of paint, and that's it.
Wow, I love it. This looks so awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. And then we have this piece here.
So that's entitled Mitochondria. That is a cell in your body. Like, basically. Like, now, of course, it won't be purple and turquoise in your body. But, you know, when you look at cells, we always stain them so you can see them. Because if you didn't, like, you couldn't see, like, the color. So this one is 100% thinking about what's underneath on a slide, underneath the telescope.
Wow. And it's so beautiful that you can take your chemistry and all of your medical expertise, fuse it in with your art to create things that many of us, that you can relate to internal organs of a person and the internal inside our body, and like create it and mesh it in with the art is awesome.
Well, because everything's connected. everything's connected. I did career day at an elementary school last week, and I did both careers. I did my day life and my night life, and I told the children it's all connected. Like, don't think that they're these separate things. The inside of you looks just like the surface of a planet. It's all the basic kind of fundamental.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, but you never see what you look like on the inside, like underneath the microscope, so you don't know. It strangely is all connected to each other, and it's always circular. You know, like anything like living usually has something round. You know, like that's just the way it is. Like that's just life. You know, planetary.
And you know the funny thing, I did an exhibition called Patterns. We dealt with the 5 like kind of main patterns in nature. But while I was doing that and kind of putting that together, I noticed that like kind of if you turn the human upside down and looked at their veins, it's almost like a tree.
Yeah, it is. It's because it's based on the same principle. A tree that's what you're seeing when you see roots, or it's like veins. Like a tree has veins. Like these aren't like separate things. They're all the same thing.
Wow.
You know, things are round for a reason. You know,
exactly.
things are spheres for a reason. So like there's more surface area. Like everything is basically God has designed everything absolutely perfectly. That's why it all looks like itself. You know, it's the best, most efficient, whatever way for it to be is how it is. So, and it's usually the same, you know.
You know, you have a, like when you try to maintain your artistic expression, how do you navigate like with the demands of the market? Because remember, as you were talking about your like not doing social media, but the demands of the market say you have to.
Yes.
You know, so what are some other ways, or is it like, how do you deal with that, knowing that the demands of the market are going to make you have to do certain things?
Well, you know what? You have to be flexible. You have to be open, but you also have to have a very good understanding of your principles of who you are.
Yeah.
There are some things I will not do.
Exactly.
There's some things that don't interest me. A lot of times people will pressure me to do things. I want you to start making rugs. I want you to start doing whatever. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. Like, I only do things that interest me. And I only do things I respect. Right? So some things interest me, and they never will. And I will not be convinced. One blessing of being 50, I already know who I am. For good, bad, or indifferent. Right?
Yes.
So I am open though. I'm not set in my ways about anything. I'm open, but once I figure out if I want to do it or don't, that's it. You're not gonna convince me to make a rug. Like this is not my jam. Like I respect rug makers, but I don't need to be one. I also have learned too, I do want to learn other skills and try other kinds of art, but I don't want to try everything. Sometimes I just want to buy it. I don't want to make it. Like I want it to be with it. The way I'm not trying to do what you do. I just want it on the wall. Like, you know, I'm not interested in making everything that I like. You know?
Exactly.
So I mean,
so, and that is so true.
Right.
Yo, people ask me to do murals. I don't do murals. Well, they ask me all the time.
You know, there's a hot market for that right now. And I've been asked to do a lot of murals. And here's the thing. I'm not hanging off anything. I'm 50. I'm not hurting myself. Well, one thing I've learned about the mural process, and I have very good mentorship, is there's a lot of fabrication these days. It's not like the mural of past. It's like you send that thing they will make it a tile, they'll make it a whatever that'll wrap around an entire building. Like, it's not the old school mural of back in the day.
Using templates.
Yeah. It used to be you ain't a harness. You know, inhaling toxic fumes, you know, and then about to die. Now it's you take this image, you send it to a fabricator, they will install it, they will make it tiles. You know, like they will make it tiled and install it. It's just not, it's a different, and that's where you have to be flexible. Technology is fascinating, you know, You got to catch up. So you can do murals and it's not like, you know, and people love them. You know, they love large art like that, you know. Yeah. But Mary's not hanging. I'm not hanging off nothing. And I'm not going to be in no cold or heat or wet or, you know.
It's not for me either.
I'm too old for that. Yeah, I'm not.
Listen, I'm 63. I still play basketball. I'll jump up and down on anything. But it's for me, it's just I don't want to do them. I don't want my art ever to get painted over. So if you put a mural up, somebody will come. I'm not putting effort into something that can be painted over. I just won't do it.
And also, too, I don't like the pressure of it. So, like, for instance, you have a deadline, it rains for 6 days. And it like you're really at the mercy of the elements and whatever it's doing. You know, I don't like that. Like, I don't do well under pressure. I'm a planner. I am not a procrastinator. You know, so anything where I have to worry if it's weather dependent, it's windy today, so now I can't paint because of
exactly.
I ain't fight. I don't fight God either. I'm not. No, you win. You know, so
your arms too short.
They were arms too short. You know.
So, what projects or themes are you currently working or exploring right now? And what can we expect from you in the future?
Okay, so what you can expect is I'm applying for everything again. So I have had to, this is where I'm in a part of my art journey where I've had to start literally saying no. Up to now, I've said yes to everything. But now, that's just not possible anymore. Things are conflicting with each other. I can't say yes to everything like I used to. So I'm being very intentional. I do miss vending. I do miss being outside. Now that it's warming up, I'm going to do a few outdoor vending because I like talking to people. You know, I like people, you know, and I miss that. So I kind of picked years to do certain things. I vended really hard 2 years ago, like almost every weekend. And I was like, I'm tired. I'm cold. I'm not doing. So last year I did none, but now I miss it. You know, I'm also, you know, I like galleries, but I also like interacting with people. You know, I want to attempt a mural. I want to do one of everything one time to see how I feel about it. You know, and I'm going to keep going to other people's stuff. You know, I like to see what other artists are doing. So I'm also going to explore putting my art on different things. You know, I'm not married to canvases. You know, I like art on different things, especially things that can be used. So that's probably where I'm going to venture.
Speaking of, do you have any children?
I do not. I did not.
Okay. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did not reproduce. So I have a lot of time, and I have a lot of house, and I have no animals. That's the thing too. So that means that I can paint a lot. Now I don't have time to paint like I used to though, because the art life demands you do all this stuff. You know, so it's a balance. You know, I have to work more on being a business person. That's really what I need to do. So.
Hey, listen, one thing I like about you is that you are totally honest, not just with us, but with yourself. And that comes through and, you know, you're talking and you stay true to yourself. And that's a good thing. So I don't see anything but an upward projection for you. I see that.
Well, I appreciate it. But you know what? I'm already winning. Like, even I'm so grateful to everything. This was not a planned operation. This is just something that's happening to me.
Exactly.
So I'm happy all the time. I don't have a goal. The goal is whatever. I tried life my way. It's better when God does it, frankly. Like what I try, like whatever is supposed to be for me is going to happen.
Exactly.
And
I didn't start till I was 47.
Right.
That's when I started painting.
Right.
And there was not even a thought in my head to do this. So, but look at him, I'm 16 years in now.
Right.
You know, it's amazing.
It's fun now too. Like you don't have part of it is the demands of raising children, you know, or taking care of elderly parents. Like once you get in a different stage in life, you have more time to devote to like maybe being curious. What it is about curiosity. Like
my daughter was off to college when I started, she had just left for college. My son had already been out of the house, and I had just went through a divorce. So I really had time.
Right. But you know what's funny is
Yes.
I don't have kids, and I've never really wanted them ever really in my life. But what's weird is I'm doing a lot of stuff with children. Like, and I never saw that coming. So I volunteer at a middle school art program like twice a week,
Awesome.
twice a month. I do their and I'm teaching them how to paint, like just like I do. Like we just did it Thursday. But I'd never interacted with kids, but now I do. You know, art is weird, man. So
Awesome.
and I like it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm listening.
No, and I enjoy the kids. I was like, how is this gonna work? Because I don't know anything about children. I love it. It's part of the highlights of my month is going to see the whippersnappers. So
awesome. So we have your the final question is, any advice for up and coming young artists? What advice would you give to the young people?
Yes. I would say one thing, and you know, you're more than likely your parents love and adore you, right? And they don't want you to be homeless, and they want you to eat. So they're not going to push you into the arts, okay? They're going to think how they think that artists don't make money. You'll be starving. You'll be scratching. You can't take care of yourself. So then they might say, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a whatever. What I would tell a young person is, you don't have to choose. You can be both them things. You can be 9 different things. You are not limited to one occupation, your life.
Yes.
You can do, I would say, do your whatever to make money. And then in the afternoon, evening, you do what you do that's you. But always be doing both. Like always. Like that's the advice I would give. You don't have to pick. But you do have to eat. So, you know, I would, and also too, the one thing I saw, like, I don't know, Rick Rubin or somebody saying this, if you are dependent on your art to eat, you will do it differently. It's better to have something that's sustaining you so you can be more free to do your art. You know, whatever that is, you know, but if you have to create to eat, you will create different stuff. It's not going to be as free for you. You know, because you're always going to be worried, am I pleasing this person so I'll make money?
Exactly.
And then you'll be doing something maybe you don't want to do. So,
and you may sell your art at a price that is ridiculously low.
Or
just to eat.
And you don't want to be in that position.
Nope.
Right? So I would say do both. You're just going to have to be a good steward of your time. That's all.
Awesome. So again, we want you to follow Mary at Mary Claggett on Instagram. She's also at Sugar Beats Art Flow on Instagram, and her website is sugarbeatsartflow.com. What an absolute pleasure to have you here, Mary. Thanks for sharing like some of your insights, your experience today, and like we truly, you know, love the inspiration that you give us, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people, everything you have to say today. And we're so grateful for you to come on.
And you've been wonderful. You made it easy, breezy, peasy, and I'm bad with technology. So kudos to you. I'm bad.
And listen, and you seen I had a big old mix up in the beginning, but it's a testament to maintaining your composure, not going off the rails. So what? I got to get another soundboard and computer. But guess what? I'm grateful to be able to get one. If I get a soundboard and computer, then I'll be grateful for that.
It'll be better.
Sometimes things happen.
Whatever you get is going to be better than what you had.
Yeah.
That's another thing to it. So.
Yeah. So listen, we're going to depart. Don't anyone go away. I have some housekeeping, and I'm going to see you on the other side, Mary. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Wow, what a wonderful interview. And what an amazing young lady. Please, as I said, again, I'm going to show you her social media really quick. And so she's at sugarbeatsartflow.com. And you can follow her on Instagram at Mary Claggett, and also at Sugar Beats Art Flow on Instagram. Before we part ways, I have some exciting news. Let me show you a couple of things here. My artwork is currently on display at Hamilton Township Library, offering you a chance to experience it firsthand. However, time is of the essence as the collection will be refurbished on June 1st. I'm going to be adding some 10 new paintings up. So you have until the end of May to view the artwork I have up in the library right here. This is a couple of different angles of the artwork, and this is the front of Hamilton Township Library. So if you have the opportunity, go over there and you can see some of the art I have in there. And there's 10 large paintings. And also, I want to extend you a welcome out to my studio, KJL Art Sanctuary. We're at 310 4th Street in Ewing, New Jersey. I operate on an appointment-only basis, or by events. We do paint parties, as well as exhibitions there. So you would have to schedule an appointment to come if you are interested in purchasing some art. Also, you can go onto my website here if you're interested in purchasing mugs, t-shirts, tote bags, or anything of that nature. It's kjlartsanctuary@gmail is my email address. kjlartsanctuary.com is my website. You can also come on and see me at Instagram. And here we also have, if you'd like to make a donation, you got the ticker going there. And it's at Cash App. All right, so let me get this down, and then we're going to do a couple of more things, and then I'm going to send you guys off. All right. All right. I'm sorry. I normally do this differently. My computer, I spilled coffee on it just before the podcast, and had a little bit of a problem because I had to adjust to using my phone, which is fine. I was still able to put forth the podcast. But listen, everyone, thank you. Remember, follow us on my KJL podcast channel on YouTube. Just go KJL podcast channel on YouTube. There you'll see Art with Kenneth, where I have the art demonstrations, and the KJL podcast part is the artist interviews and art history and gallery and museum tours. Okay, so there's two. Once you get into KJL podcast channel, you'll be able to look at my two, the Art with Kenneth, and then the artist interviews, art history, etc. And again, thank you so much for tuning in today. Love you very much. I'm grateful, and much love.